There's a new trend on social media tonight, hashtag where is Justin Trudeau? It's not a rhetorical question, it's not funded by Canada's opposition either. It's a genuine query of ordinary Canadians. Where is their Prime Minister? Unfortunately, nobody knows. Trudeau says he has contracted the Wuhan virus, but no one knows where he's isolating. Normally, he would be in his Ottawa office on Mondays. Today, he wasn't. He and his family were moved to an undisclosed location. In other words, he fled. Do you know why? Because the white knight of democracy could not handle a protest. Let me show you what's happening in Ottawa. The streets have been taken over by protesters. We're talking about thousands of them, mostly truckers. They're calling it the Freedom Convoy. Some of them are carrying banners denouncing Trudeau. Some of them drove in on their massive trucks. Some of them are not even truckers. They're ordinary residents of Ottawa, but all of them are protesting the same thing, vaccine mandates. You see, Canada has imposed a new rule for entering the US. To cross the border, you must be vaccinated. No jab, no travel. But Canadian truckers are not impressed. Some of them are anti-vax. They do not want to get the vaccine. So what did they do? Well, they're truckers. They did what they do best. They hit the roads. Some of them have blocked the major highways linking to the US. Others drove into Ottawa to clog the capital. Now, let me make one thing clear. We do not endorse this protest. We do not approve of this cause. Vaccines are your best bet against the Wuhan virus. By not getting jabbed, these truckers are putting themselves in danger. Having said that, what is Justin Trudeau up to? He's the Prime Minister of Canada. His job is to create consensus. If truckers are resisting him, he must reach out to them. Instead, Trudeau fled. Is he in a war bunker? Is he getting a haircut? Is he rethinking the vaccine mandate? Nobody knows. What do you think Trudeau should have done instead? Well, why don't we ask the man himself? Meet Justin Trudeau from December 2020. Around the time when farmers were protesting in India, that Trudeau was full of ideas, how to reach out, how to handle the protests, how to broker peace. He was passionate and proactive in offering advice. Let me quote what he said about India. The situation, he said, is concerning. We are all very worried about family and friends. Let me remind you, Canada will always be there to defend the rights of peaceful protesters. We believe in the process of dialogue. We've reached out through multiple means to the Indian authorities to highlight our concerns. If only we could get this message to Trudeau's secret cubbyhole. I'm not saying the situation in Ottawa is not challenging. The protests are certainly daunting, but there hasn't been violence. So far, the protests have been peaceful. So why hasn't Prime Minister Trudeau reached out to the protesters? Where is the process of dialogue? Actually, forget dialogue. Why not release a statement or at least a tweet? It's not like Trudeau got logged out of the internet. Here's something he retweeted today. He's celebrating a football victory. Canada's men's football team beat the Americans. I'm sure it's a big deal for Canada. But is it more important than these pictures? Thousands of truckers camping in the national capital. Temperature minus 20 degrees Celsius. Trudeau may disagree with their views. So do we. But his response is two-faced. When the protests happen in India, it's the government's fault. The cops are tyrants. The ministers are unresponsive. But when the protests happen in Canada, the narrative changes. Guess what Trudeau calls these truckers? A small fringe minority holding unacceptable views. His words. Well, that's precisely what the Indian government also said, that the farmer protests were being organized by a minority. The similarities don't end there. Like all protests, this one too needs financial support. So where is that money coming from? Online campaigns. Around 33% of the donors are anonymous. No names, no address. Canada's intelligence agencies say they suspect a foreign hand. They say the truckers could be getting money from abroad. Again, that's precisely what happened in India. Khalistani elements penetrated the protests. Funds were flowing in from abroad, some said. But in 2020, Trudeau did not care. He wanted to protect his vote bank in Canada. So he dived into the internal affairs of a sovereign country. Today, when he faces a similar situation, he flees. He pretends like nothing is happening, and the Canadian media is playing along. Here's what the CBC is reporting, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, CBC. After 2 days of protests, Ottawa residents are feeling the effects. Some workers and volunteers say they're worried about safety. Does this sound familiar to you? The same thing happened during the farmers' protest in India. Major highways were blocked. On Republic Day, New Delhi was overrun by tractors. But criticizing that was apparently insensitive. If you condemn that, you are muzzling democracy. I guess it only applies to New Delhi, not to Ottawa or Vancouver or Montreal. I'm not saying Trudeau should surrender to these anti-vaxxers. I'm saying he should stick by his own words. He should reach out to them. What if the protesters resort to violence? What if they disrupt daily life? Even then, Trudeau must follow his own words, talks and dialogue. Remember, that's what he asked India to do. People here could not take the highway anymore. Normal life was being disrupted. Only then did authorities intervene. But back then, Justin Trudeau lectured the government of India on how to handle the farmers. This whole controversy is a lesson for all self-righteous leaders out there. Stop meddling in the affairs of other countries. And if you do, make sure you hold yourself to the same standard. If not, you're just a hypocrite, wavy hair or not. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.